Welcome back to the Garage Gang. Strap in tight. It's time for another episode of Token Teardown, the show where we roll your favorite crypto projects into the bay, jack them up, and see what's really under the hood. If you're new here, this is where we find out whether a project's a Ford F-150 Lightning with a supercharger or just a base single cab truck with a loud exhaust trying to sound fast. Yeah, we'll hit price predictions later, because we know that's everyone's favorite lane. But first, let's find out if Near Protocol deserves a spot in your garage. Hit that like, tap follow, share it with your fellow crypto bros, or even that uncle who swears he's aping into Moodang because it just got listed on Robinhood. Here in the garage, we make crypto easy to understand for everyone from the crypto pro to the gas station attendant. And before we fire this thing up, a shout out to Christian, aka Triple X, for doing the heavy lifting on the research that made this teardown possible. All right, doors down, lights on, let's fire it up. Every great build starts with a dream team. And Near's founders aren't weekend mechanics. They're full-blown engineers with resumes powerful enough to light up a data center. Ilya Polasukin, former Google researcher, AI scientist, and co-author of the 2017 paper, Attention is All You Need. That single paper didn't just make waves. It detonated the entire large language model revolution that became GPT. Ilya doesn't talk innovation. He helped invent the playbook. Alexander Skidnov, Microsoft alum, competitive programming phenom, and the very first engineer at MemSQL, now single store. He built the distributed system architecture that keeps Wall Street's databases humming at impossible speeds. This guy doesn't fix engines. He designs the highways they run on. In 2017, the two of them launched Near.ai, a project to teach machines how to code. They tried paying contributors on Ethereum, and the engine seized. Gas fees exploded, performance collapsed, and the dream hit a wall. So they did what real builders do. They pivoted. They threw out the old parts and built their own machine from scratch. By 2018, Near Protocol was born, a blockchain built for speed, engineered for developers, and designed to scale to billions of users. Funding? They didn't roll up with pocket change. They raised $500 million from heavy hitters. Andreessen Horowitz, Tiger Global, Jump, Pantera, and more. Then they brought in Google Cloud and Alibaba Cloud as partners to handle enterprise-grade infrastructure. This isn't a garage experiment. It's Formula One level engineering backed by Silicon Valley Capital and world-class pit support. Every great machine is built to solve a problem. And in 2017, the problem with crypto was simple: speed and cost. Most blockchains were like muscle cars from the 70s, powerful, loud, and absolutely terrible on fuel. Ethereum was the best of them, a legendary ride with a roaring engine. But the mileage was brutal. 15 transactions per second and gas fees that made every turn feel like a pit stop at the world's most expensive station. Near looked at that traffic jam and said, we can build something better. They didn't want another muscle car. They wanted an electric supercar. Instant torque, quiet efficiency, and room for the whole crowd. Near is what's called a layer 1 blockchain, which means its own road, its own engine, and its own fuel. It doesn't hitch a ride on Ethereum or anyone else's network. When congestion hits, Near doesn't slow down. It opens more lanes through a design called sharding. Each shard handles its own flow of transactions, and the network merges them together in real time. What does that mean for you? Transactions confirm in about 1 second. Fees cost fractions of a cent. Wallet addresses are human-readable, names like John.Near instead of a 42-character license plate. And if you're new, many apps will even cover your first gas fees, so you can start without touching a token. The mission was never just speed, it was usability. Near wanted blockchain that feels like the internet, simple, secure, and invisible in the background. Where Ethereum paved the road, Near's laying down the expressway. It's Web3 with Web2 polish, crypto that finally runs at the speed of normal life. If you want to know how a race car wins, you don't stare at the paint job, you lift the hood and check the engine. And under Near's hood is a setup built for speed, precision, and endurance. Let's start with Nightshade sharding, Near's equivalent of an adaptive transmission. Picture a highway that automatically adds new lanes the moment traffic builds up. Each lane, or shard, processes its own transactions in parallel. Then Near's system merges them into a single, flawless record. It's like having one car with an infinite number of gears. Smooth acceleration no matter how crowded the road gets. Next, Doomslug consensus. Sounds like a video game weapon, right? But it's Near's custom proof-of-stake engine. It locks transactions in just 1.2 seconds, faster than you can blink and check the rearview mirror. It's the blockchain version of launch control. Clean, instant power off the line. Then there's WebAssembly smart contracts, the part that makes Near truly driver-friendly. Other chains hand you a new stick shift and say, good luck learning to drive. Near hands you a steering wheel you already know. Developers can build using Rust, TypeScript, or JavaScript, languages more than 20 million programmers already speak fluently. That's how Near opened the road to mainstream developers, instead of keeping it a closed track for insiders. And for Ethereum drivers who don't want to swap cars entirely, Near built Aurora, an Ethereum virtual machine running as a smart contract on Near itself. Think of it as dropping your favorite engine into a lighter chassis. Same code, same parts, same performance tune, but with half the drag and a fraction of the fuel cost. Security? Pure proof of stake. Validators put up Near tokens as collateral, their stake, to keep the race clean. Cheat or cut corners and the protocol slashes your stake like a flag marshal pulling you off the track. Combine all that and you've got a chain that's not just fast. It's efficient, aerodynamic, and built for the long haul. No overheating, no pit lane chaos, just consistent lap times at global scale. And here's the best part. Since the day Near hit the track, it's logged 0 downtime. No stalls, no breakdowns, no engine lights flashing. While other blockchains are still in the shop swapping parts, Near's already doing laps, smooth, silent, and leaving a vapor trail of pure performance. Every good race team knows the work doesn't stop once the car leaves the factory. You keep tuning, upgrading, and testing until every lap is faster than the last. And that's exactly what Near's engineers have been doing under the hood. They've rolled out Nightshade 2.0, dynamic resharding, and stateless validation. Think of it as upgrading the suspension, widening the track, and lightening the chassis all at once. It's a complete performance package designed for endurance and efficiency. Dynamic resharding means the blockchain literally expands and contracts its lanes depending on traffic. If usage spikes, Near opens up the throttle. If it quiets down, it tightens the system to save fuel. That's self-adjusting horsepower, a feature no other major chain has nailed at this level. Then there's the fuel economy. Inflation was trimmed from 5% down to 2.5%. That's like doubling your miles per gallon without sacrificing speed. It made Near one of the most efficient proof-of-stake engines on the road. And check the speedometer. The goal is 1 million transactions per second by 2025. That's not marketing talk, that's the Dyno target. Now let's talk about the little scare that made the engine even tougher. The 2024 bug fix. Security firm Zelic found a small vulnerability in Near's peer-to-peer handshake layer. In theory, a few nodes could misfire. Think of it like a spark plug misaligned in an otherwise perfect engine. But before the news could even make the rounds, the pit crew jumped on it. They patched the issue in just a few days. No downtime, no lost funds, no exploit. Not a single customer even noticed the check engine light blink. After that quick pit stop, Near doubled down on safety. They expanded bug bounty payouts to attract white hat hackers, increased their audit frequency, and built automated stress tests that push the system to redline before every major upgrade. It's like putting the car through a track shakedown before every race. No surprises once the lights go green. That incident could have been a speed bump. Instead, it turned into a systems hardening milestone. It proved what every real driver knows. The best cars aren't the ones that never face a problem. They're the ones that come out of the garage faster, safer, and more reliable after every fix. Near's now running smoother than ever, tuned for performance, stress-tested for chaos, and built for the kind of mileage that leaves other blockchains burning oil by lap 10. Every championship needs competition, and the Layer 1 race is packed with contenders. Let's pull up to the starting grid and see who's revving beside Near. Ethereum sits in pole position, the seasoned veteran. It's been leading the pack for over a decade, a proven machine with a loyal pit crew. But it's also the heaviest car on the circuit. Upgrades take ages, the gas tank burns cash, and those Layer 2s bolted on the sides, they help. but it's still the same bulky frame underneath. Ethereum's got pedigree, but it's not built for mass market speed. Next, the crowd favorite, Solana. It's the flashy sprinter, fast off the line, beautiful on the straights, but it's been known to overheat. Every few months, it's the same routine. Caution flag, restart, memes in the pit lane. When it's dialed in, it's a rocket. But Near, it's been running flawless laps since launch. Zero downtime, smooth as glass. That's the difference between a production prototype and a race car that's actually road tested. Then there's Avalanche, the rally car of the bunch. Rugged, modular, built for rough terrain. It's got solid traction with enterprise clients, but the gearbox takes a manual touch. Meanwhile, Near's setup is automatic, one seamless ecosystem. No subnets, no confusion. Just drop the clutch and go. Now look at the rookies, Aptos and Sui. They rolled out of Meta's old blockchain lab with slick new tech, parallel execution, lightning throughput, shiny paint jobs. But they're still in testing mode. Lots of promise, not a lot of miles. While they're tweaking aerodynamics, Near's already clocking real-world results. Millions of users, billions in value. Real traffic, not just wind tunnel hype. And don't forget Cosmos and Polkadot. They're not so much cars as they are race teams, fleets of smaller chains, each with its own token, its own pit crew, its own rulebook. It's a smart concept, but fragmented. Every driver needs their own track, every lap a new registration fee. Near simplifies it all with BOS, the blockchain operating system. It's the universal dashboard that connects multiple chains under one roof, like a pit computer that syncs the entire fleet. But a race is nothing without fans, and Near's got a full grandstand of real drivers. Sweat economy, 13 million users earning tokens just for walking. Here Wallet, 4 million users sending crypto through a simple link instead of clunky addresses. Kai app, 30 million users across Asia shopping, earning, and transacting on Near, half of them without even realizing they're touching blockchain. That's the point. When the tech disappears, adoption begins. Then there's Near's DeFi pit crew, Ref Finance running swaps, Burrow handling lending and borrowing, Orderly Network bringing centralized exchange speed to decentralized trading, and Metapool offering liquid staking so your tokens keep earning while they're on the track. Put it all together, and Near isn't just in the race, it's setting lap records quietly while others argue in the paddock. While the competition's shouting about horsepower, Near's clocking consistent times, upgrading parts mid-race, and lapping projects that don't even see it coming. If Ethereum's the muscle car, and Solana's the sports coupe, then Near is the Tesla Plaid of Web3. All electric, no noise, zero lag, pure acceleration. Already on the road while the rest are still tuning engines. Every machine runs on fuel, and in the Near ecosystem, that fuel is the Near token. But before we hit the throttle, let's take a second to break down a word that gets thrown around a lot: tokenomics. Tokenomics is short for token economics. It's the study of how a blockchain's economy works, how new tokens are created, how they're distributed, how they're burned, and what gives them long-term value. Think of it as the fuel system of a car. It's not just about how much gas you have in the tank. It's about how efficiently that gas burns, how far it takes you, and how often you have to fill up. Good tokenomics keep the engine running smooth. Bad tokenomics? That's a leaky fuel line waiting to blow. So, how does Near manage its fuel? Every time you press the gas on this network, whether you're sending a transaction, minting an NFT, swapping tokens on Ref Finance, or running a smart contract, you're spending a tiny bit of Near as gas. A portion of that fee, about 70%, gets burned, gone, vaporized like exhaust out of a tailpipe. That burn offsets inflation, the creation of new tokens that pay validators for securing the network. Currently, inflation runs about 5% a year. But here's the clever part. When the network gets busy, the burn can outpace inflation, making Near deflationary, meaning the total supply actually shrinks over time. It's a self-tuning engine. The more it drives, the lighter it gets. Now let's talk about the tank size. There are around 1.28 billion Near tokens in existence, and roughly 97% of them are already circulating. That means the market isn't sitting on a hidden stash that could flood supply later. No cliffs, no "oh surprise, we just dumped more tokens." Here's how the emission system runs. 90% of new tokens go to validators and delegators, the pit crew that keeps the blockchain safe and honest. 10% goes to the Near Foundation and its treasury, the development fund that powers grants, ecosystem support, and future upgrades. This is what's called proof of stake. It's the Racing League's rulebook. Validators put up Near as collateral, their stake, to secure the network. If they drive clean, they earn rewards. If they try to cut corners, the system slashes their stake, basically pulls them off the track. When you stake your Near, you're joining that crew. You lock up your tokens and earn around 5 to 7% a year in yield, your share of the block rewards. It's passive income that keeps the network stable while paying you for participation. And here's the magic. The 70% burn keeps inflation in check. So while new tokens are created every block, others are being destroyed at nearly the same pace. It's the hybrid drive model of blockchain, regenerative braking for an economy. Power flows forward, waste gets recycled. That's why Near's tokenomics stand out. The system is balanced, supply stays steady, and the incentives for users, builders, and validators are aligned like a finely tuned gearbox. While other projects burn fuel just to stay alive, Near runs clean, cool, and efficient. A blockchain engine built to last an entire season without ever leaving the track. All right, gang, we've been patient long enough. This is it, everyone's favorite part, the money. Because let's be real, you can talk sharding, consensus, and zero knowledge until your jaw falls off. But at the end of the day, everyone watching wants to know one thing: what's in it for me? We get it. We're all here for the dough. And for this segment, we pulled the numbers straight from our head of technical analysis right here in the garage. Lulu, you'll meet her properly in a minute. But first, let's see what she's found under the financial hood. Current market snapshot. As of right now, Near trades around $2.30 a token, with a total market capitalization hovering near $3 billion. That's barely 0.1% of the global crypto market, a fraction so small it's like a single race car in a sea of commuters. So, what happens when the lights go green and the next bull market hits the throttle? Let's take a few laps around the possible futures. Cruise control, the baseline lap. It's 2026, Bitcoin's above 100,000, Ethereum's pushing 10 grand, and your cousin who swore off crypto in 2022 is suddenly calling you again. ETFs are full, TikTok is flooded with how to buy altcoins tutorials, and the total crypto market has roared back to $20 trillion. If Near simply holds its current share of that market, just 0.1%, it grows to a $20 billion market cap. That's about a $15 token. No miracles, no mania, just Near cruising in the fast lane with the rest of the field. Scaled performance, the expansion lap. Now imagine developers piling in. DeFi's back, the BOS dashboard is everywhere, and AI integrations are driving fresh demand. Near doubles its market share to 0.2%, a $40 billion cap, and a token trading between $30 and $45. That's scaled performance, a solid overtake on the mid-pack, proof that real fundamentals eventually passed pure hype. False end, the mania lap, and then there's the wild lap, the tell your friends you're a genius phase. Bitcoin hits 200,000, Ethereum 12 grand, and your social feed is nothing but charts, yachts, and memes. If Near captures a full 1% of the global crypto market, that's a $200 billion cap and roughly a $150 token. That's full send, confetti, champagne, the whole victory lane. But remember, what goes up that fast tends to hit the brakes just as hard. The black swan laps, when the track turns slick. Every Dyno test needs a crash test. So let's talk about the ugly side of the chart, the black swan scenarios. Market freefall. Bitcoin drops to 50,000. Liquidity dries up, and everyone's suddenly an ex-trader. Discords go silent, Twitter gets somber, and Near slides back toward $1. Not because it failed, just because fear drives faster than fundamentals. Regulation roulette. Picture a surprise ruling from the SEC or a new global policy calling staking a security. Trading pauses, liquidity freezes, and retail steps off the gas. That's 50 to 70 cents until clarity returns. Contagion crash. Another exchange blows up, a stablecoin depegs. Suddenly, everything, even solid projects, skid across the track. That's the 40-cent pit stop where confidence vanishes overnight. Why Near still has traction. Here's the difference between Near and the hype machines. Near's engine doesn't shut down when the crowd clears out. 45 million active accounts, real partnerships with Google Cloud and Alibaba Cloud. A treasury designed for the long race, not just the highlight reel. When the lights go out, Near doesn't stall. It just idles steady, waiting for green. So yeah, the upside is huge, but the volatility is real. That's crypto. The fastest, loudest, least forgiving track in finance. Dream big, but drive defensively. Because if the market really does stretch to $20 trillion, Near's got the torque to stay in the front pack. And when the next black swan dives across the windshield, this car's built solid enough to hold its line and finish the race. Now, before anyone gets too excited and starts reaching for the buy button, let's take a second to downshift and reset. Because every time we finish a teardown, somebody in the comments says, bro, you made me bullish. I'm going all in. Whoa, punk the brakes, champ. Before you go aping into the market like it's Cyber Monday for meme coins, let's make one thing absolutely clear. This is not financial advice. We don't give it. We don't sell it. And we definitely don't pretend to have a crystal ball. What we do have is our head of technical analysis here in the garage, Lulu. You've heard her name already. She's the one who ran all those numbers. And if you're wondering who she is, well, it's time for the reveal. Lulu's a pig. Yeah, an actual pig. 4 hooves, curly tail, bottomless appetite, and an attitude that could rival any traded on X after 3 cans of Monster. But don't underestimate her. That pig's got instincts. You hand her a chart, and she snorts when the RSI gets overbought. When liquidity dries up, she squeals before the candles even fall. We joke that she's the only analyst who's ever beaten the market, mostly because she eats the report before anyone can fact check it. So if you're taking financial advice from a pig, that's on you, partner. We just read the data, tune the engines, and call what we see. Our job here isn't to tell you what to buy. It's to show you what's really under the hood. So whether you're stacking Near, staking Ethereum, or just kicking tires, make your own calls, set your stop losses, and keep your emotions out of the driver's seat. Because here in the barrage, the rule's simple. We don't chase candles, we chase clarity. All right, gang, we've checked every bolt, run every lap, and stress tested every inch of this build. Now it's time for the verdict, the garage score. No fluff, no hype, just truth straight from the bay. Tech, 9 out of 10. Near's engine is a masterpiece. Nightshade sharding, instant finality, sub-penny fees, and it actually works in the wild. This isn't a concept car. It's already clocking laps on real roads. Docked 1 point only because BOS is still stretching its legs across the multi-chain highway. But otherwise, this tech hums like a V12 tuned by NASA. Team, 9 out of 10. Ilya and Alex aren't crypto influencers. They're engineers. One helped invent modern AI. The other built distributed databases that keep Wall Street humming. Ad backing from Andreessen Horowitz, Tiger Global, and Google Cloud. And you've got the kind of pit crew every blockchain dreams about. Tokenomics, 8.5 out of 10. Deflationary fuel, no hidden cliffs, clean emissions. The system recycles energy instead of wasting it. The hybrid drive model of crypto. It's one of the most balanced, sustainable economies in the entire space. Risk, 6 out of 10. Because let's be honest, it's still crypto. Regulators can throw wrenches, black swans can fly in from nowhere, and sentiment flips faster than a supercar on slick tires. Near's fundamentals are bulletproof, but the track can still get messy. Final score, 8.7 out of 10. Certified beast. Fast, efficient, developer-friendly, built for scale. Near isn't screaming for attention, it's simply executing. It's the quiet electric supercar overtaking the field with torque you can feel and traction you can trust. In a world full of over-promised projects running on marketing fumes, Near's one of the few machines running on real engineering. That's why it's leaving tread marks across the entire Layer 1 circuit. If you want more full throttle teardowns like this, head over to gurucryptogarage.guru, our digital pit lane for crypto, AI, and market torque. That's where the community hangs out. The data drops first, and the alpha smells fresh off the charts. Drop your next project suggestion in the comments. You never know which one will roll into the bay next. Until then, keep your charts tight, your wallet safe, and as always, let it rip.